So point being is she's a little overweight. Or a lot. I'm sorry, it's true. How are we doing this evening? You're so pretty. Little dorko. Hello goat lovers, Crystal here with Blue Cactus dairy goats and soaps, and today I am going to start a comparison. Whether or not it's better to kid your does out at a year old or kid them out at 2. Now, when deciding whether or not to breed your young doe to have kids at 1 year old, there are a couple things that are more important than just the age to consider. For one, you're going to want to know the weight of your doe, and your doe should be at least 60% of her adult mature weight. Now, Mercy here was 46 pounds, so that is a really awesome weight. I strive for 40 to breed them, but in addition to that, I'm also looking at width from thurl to thurl. Now, these are the hip bones, right? And then down here are the pin bones, and in between the hip and pin bones are the thurls. And Mercy is actually super wide, so I have to stretch to get from thurl to thurl. So that being said, when Mercy was put in the pen was 5 weeks ago, so she's certainly heavier now, and she's also has grown, so she's gonna have a little bit more width than when I put her in the pen. Now you guys know that I breed my does super wide. It's something I love in my dairy goats and in my herd, so she definitely didn't have a problem with that. You girls kind of aren't so little anymore, huh? No. She's such a good girl. You're being an angel. Anyway, those are two huge factors when considering whether or not you are going to breed your doe at a young age. So there are some pros to have them kid at a year old. It is what I prefer. I like to have them kid out at a year old. I honestly don't like using that year of productivity, and that's why I breed them out young. So one of the perks, like I just said, is your doe, if you breed to have them kid out at a year old, your doe will have a more productive life because she has made milk longer. And also something to consider, there is a lot of development that takes place in your little doe when she gets pregnant and passes kids. It's not just the udder that takes form, but it is going to be their body structure. It helps them get deeper bodied, it makes them wider, it kind of moves out those hips and those thurls, obviously because they passed a baby. Think of it like a woman having a child and now she has hips, right? Same kind of thing. So there is also development in the body. Now the udder is a big thing to consider, especially if you are a show herd. So if you happen to take your does to show, if you breed them to have them kid out at a year old, that is when they're going to be more competitive in the ring. And the reason being, a first freshen udder is going to be nothing like it is like 3 months of milking versus 6 months later after milking versus it being the whole next year and the second freshen. Now the second freshen is a lot different of an udder than the first udder you're going to see on your little does. So in other words, a lot of development takes place in that udder typically, and what you want to see is that medial is going to get a lot stronger, so more defined parts of the udder. The teats will get larger. That side attachment could get a little better, as well as the escutcheon. The udder height could get better. So there's all of these things to consider, as well as the amount of milk that a doe is going to make on her first freshen versus her second freshen. So in other words, in a show ring, the udder isn't going to be as great. So if you hold off, your competition's going to be a little bit steeper. Just something else to consider if you are a show herd. So a couple of the cons to kidding your doe out at a year old are going to be the fact that they're smaller. Obviously they're smaller, and if you don't give really great quality feed and lots of it to the little ones, they might not be of breeding size. And also considering that when you are breeding them, they are going to need more feed and good quality feed. So you are going to have to feed them very, very well if you breed them young. And that's going to start from day one. You want them to have a good sized body. They need to be wide enough, 60% of their adult body weight. So my does don't struggle there. They get fed probably a little too much, but either way, they grow really, really well. And then you also have to factor that while they're breeding and while they're pregnant, their body is growing and they're growing babies. So they are going to need extra nutrition. And if they are fed properly, they do just fine. And you shouldn't have any issues as far as the growing of her as well as the babies. And then again, as they are lactating, they're gonna need higher protein, higher fat content feed to again keep growing and keep up that milk production also. So Mercy here has been an amazing specimen for us. She's being so super good. So for me, it's always a little bit stressful breeding first timers. Sometimes first timers like to have singles, and singles are always bigger. So there are things to consider. I will say, if you are not comfortable with breeding at a young age, don't do it. Just simply don't do it. Wait until they're 2 years old before you kid them out. But I've been breeding a lot of years and I have never had an issue with a first freshener passing kids, even when they're super large singles. And that is because, again, I'm monitoring the body weight, I'm monitoring thorough to thorough, and of course, lastly is going to be the age. She definitely was not one that I was concerned with. So we did weigh them all before we bred them, and I'm going to continue to weigh them at least every couple of months. And through this little kind of study I'm going to do, I'm curious, is the milk going to be higher? So cute Mercy here, right before we bred, she was 46 pounds and 32 inches around in the belly. So we will be here soon, about 3 weeks from now when we separate the breeding pairs. We're going to take her weight again, and we'll see where she lies, her weight and measurement, of course. And we'll see what's been happening, huh? And now we have Marsha. Now Marsha here is gonna be 2 years old when she has babies. So she is a really great comparison. So half sisters to Mercy. So I think it'll be a good one to do my comparison with. At least they're half related, right? So she is another doe that is going to be a first freshener. And she is one of the 5 that are going to be 2 years old when they kid out. And I did that not necessarily because I wanted to, but because I didn't want to have so many does that I had bred. So that was the reason for me waiting. It's not typically something that I do, again, because it drives me nuts. I feel like I literally wasted a year for them to be able to be productive. And also, one of the major cons is that they can get really fat. So she's one of those girls. She's always been dominant, and she likes to eat. She likes to eat a lot. And if she's not lactating, then she's not burning calories. So of course, there are a couple of pros to breeding your does out when they are 2 years old. The main one is going to be body structure. So their bone structure is a little larger and they are more developed and closer to that adult weight. So it does feel a little safer, I'm not gonna lie. I always stress about the littles, even though I know I don't have to, because they do just fine. I've seen it year after year after year after year, and it's still just a little more comforting. What are we doing? Is she okay? You got itchy ear? So another benefit to waiting until they're a little bit older, like Marsha here, Gus is just sitting in that hole out there barking at nothing. Nothing. He's crazy. So anyway, another pro is going to be if you let your does dam raise, which in my herd I don't, so it's not really a concern of mine. However, lots of people do, and if you dam raise, they might be a little bit mentally mature and a little more equipped to take care of the babies. Now, back to the con. The excess weight gain if you hold off. Now this won't happen with all the does. Not all of my does got too chunky. Marsha here, she was chunk. She was concerning chunk. She's always been a very dominant doe, and she grew like a weed, and she should have been bred last year, if I'm being honest. All of them, really. All 5 of my yearlings should have been bred. It's true. It is true. You do not want to be. It's just Gusser. He's grumpy. He's a grumpy guy. Now, I will say, I've only ever had one doe that I suspected didn't get bred because she was fat. And again, all of the fat loves to grow around their reproductive organs, and it just kind of tightens things up and makes being bred impossible. And then it also can cause complications for the doe when she is pregnant. So I really don't like it when they get chunky like that. A little bit of excess, a little bit of cushion is good right before you breed, but then there's fat. So not only did your goat get chunky and potentially might not be able to have babies because you waited, but now they are a year kind of behind, if you will. And that is how I consider it in my herd, because I feel like they are a year behind. They're 2 years old with a 1-year-old udder, and they are just not going to be producing as much milk as they would if it was their second freshen. It's just how the body works. Okay, so Marsha here also was obviously weighed and measured. And she was, you ready for it, guys? 75 pounds. 75 pounds and not even 2 years old. That's a lot, girl. Just to put that in perspective, the other yearlings are right around 57 pounds. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a big difference. And for her width, she was 37 inches around. 37. And again, for perspective, the other does were right around 33 and 4. So look at this girl. I love how open and gorgeous you are. But if you see right here behind the elbow is a really favorite spot for does to get chunk, and you'll see that build up. So if you see this isn't good. This isn't good, right? It's chunky wonky. And then there's the tail. Now the tail, you guys can probably take a look at the tail and see it's chunky, but you're supposed to be able to feel the bone in there, and it's just got too much cushion. It's just not a thing. So point being is she's a little overweight. Or a lot. I'm sorry, it's true. So if does aren't lactating, they're not burning enough calories. Dairy goats, literally, it's healthy for them to have babies and make milk. Yes, she's chunkier than I'd like her. She did get bred. I do know that because she hasn't gone back into heat or anything. So I'm comfortable with that. I know some people will think, well, just give her less food. It's not how that works. You would literally have to pen up every single one of your does in a separate pen. That's crazy. And give them their own ration of feed. And, you know, that's just not going to happen. That's crazy talk. Anyway, you're always gonna have those dominant does, right? So that means she got more food. And she ate a little more. And so because of that, you kind of have to make sure to feed a little extra to make sure the other does are getting some. But the idea of having every doe in their own pen, yeah, it's not a good idea. So I'm not down for that. And you're just gonna have Sometimes does are a little bit chunkier, but anyway, she is chunky because she wasn't bred, and now that she is bred, she's gonna start making babies, and she's also going to start lactating a few months from now, and it is going to burn a lot of those calories, and she will be just fine and get right back down to a good weight. But again, I don't like it when they get super chunky. So what I'm gonna start doing is keeping data on the 3 does that I'm going to have kid out at 1 year old and the 5 does that I'm gonna have kid out at 2 years old. So obviously I'll be weighing and measuring them, and just out of curiosity how much growth there is in just the stomach versus weight and so forth. And then once they start milking, it's gonna be really interesting to take that data as well and see if there was a big difference from the yearlings versus the 2-year-olds. So we'll have to see how that goes. And in other news, you guys, look what finally made it home to me. Seriously, you guys, these are some pretty cool ribbons. I love my winnings. So if you guys didn't see the video, we actually got Best in Show for one of our bars at the ADGA Body Products competition that only goat milk products can enter. And we took Best in Show with our Me Time bar, as well as first place for the unscented category. So that is pretty stinking cool. And my gorgeous ribbons and plaque have finally arrived. Look at this ribbon, you guys. Check it out. Ooh, it's super big. Best in Show. And then, of course, we got 2 first place winnings. So one is going to be first place for the Me Time bar, and obviously that went on to get Best in Show. And then the other one is for our beer bar on the unscented category. So the 2 categories that I entered, we got first place in both. So 2 first place winners in the 2025 ADGA Bath and Body Products competition. And this plaque is freaking gorgeous, and I love it. And I was super excited to see it. I've never won a plaque. I don't think. No, I've never won a plaque before. So this is my first plaque, and I will take it, and I'm very proud of it. Anyway, I'm super excited that they finally made it home to me. So I can't wear my plaque around all day, but check me out. I think I could add this to my daily wear, I think. So I am also super excited to say that the Me Time bar is now available, you guys. So if you guys see, I did update the label just a little bit. I put some ribbons here, or rosettes, the big fat boy ribbons. And then instead of saying handcrafted goat milk soap, I changed it to say award-winning goat milk soap, because I think that's pretty fitting, right? It did win. The essential oil blend. It is a perfect blend, and it is so relaxing. So the aromatherapy that you get off of this bar is really, really great. And the whole thing behind this bar was to literally make a bar that would relax you after a hard day's work, but also your skin feels amazing afterwards and is super soft. And in addition to changing that label, I also changed it on the beer bar. So the beer bar, I was able to fit winner right up top there. So that was the change for the beer bar, which we also have available. And our beer bar is super awesome, you guys. The beer in it, because of all of the hops, it is so nourishing for the skin, and also the sugars in the beer give this bar a super amazing lather. And of course, we cannot forget about our purple Brazilian clay and lavender bar. Now this has been a long time favorite, actually. It is a super awesome bar, and this one won first place in the essential oil category last year, so 2024. So it was time it got a winner label also. Of course, we also have this one available. So like I said, all 3 of those bars are available on our Etsy shop. But in addition to those, we have some more of your favorites that we have also listed and available right now, like our cranberry orange bar, our honey oat, our aloe bar, and our white gold bar. Head on over to our Etsy shop. We have tons of really great, awesome quality soaps to choose from. Your skin will thank you. All right, so just like that, it is now chore time again. So my first job is to take the dog food and treaties over here to feed the puppers. You usually see them trailing. Hi, Gutter. What's in there? Tiffy and Blue. Might have saw somebody walking down the road. So, you're crazy. Hi, Tiffy. You guys want a treat? Sit. Good boy. Tiffy first. Good girl. Oh, Gutter. Good boy. Good boy. Blue, Blue. Come on, pupper. Can you sit? Sit down. Good boy. There you go. Good boy. No more, Gus. No more. Alright, my second job is to get these second troughs over here. Hi, Cammy. For the goaties. And there you go, babe.
Thank you.
Look at these beauties. Oh, cutie. The goats are quite calm the past few days, which makes me happy. Come here. Ain't that right, girl? How are your girls behaving, Ledgy? He doesn't see me. And my other super duper important job, these beans right here. There's still a few beans that are coming off of the trees, and I'm surprised she's not out here yet. But Sweet May gets special beans every day. She expects it for chore time. Here she is. How come you didn't meet me at the fence? Here we go. How are we doing this evening? You're so pretty. Little dorko. You just didn't hear me, huh? So Maya's doing fabulous. Like her fabulous self usually is. She's spoiled. She's enjoying her little pen to herself, I think, too. She ain't got to share no food, and she gets special treats. Ain't that right? She's very loved. It's still super crazy to think that she is 13 years old. That's just crazy. But anyway, you guys, that is it around here for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you all again very soon. Bye, guys. Monster. You're a monster.